Hello, everybody, and welcome to House. I am Rob. I almost said Rogue, but that's a different show. Let's be honest here. We're just having a good time here. I'm Rob. He's Connor. And we're excited to do this video, guys. We really are. Like, we're in such a good mood today because we're going to be talking about the best Pokemon per generation. So, which generation has the best one? And I'm really excited about this. Connor went to Japan and got cool stuff back in the day. Before
just flexing over here, just flexing my, Tokyo Tower Pikachu. Only can get it there. No big deal. I mean, I'm just out here. Sorry. Anyway,
yeah,
continue.
He's out here for sure. Anyways, we're going to ask that you guys like and subscribe. Like if you end up enjoying this content and feel like supporting two goofy goons as we talk about Pokemon. And subscribe if you want to see more of it, because we're putting out videos, Connor, Monday through Saturday. Pretty much every single day. We take off Sundays, give everybody a little break, give ourselves a little bit of a break. But other than that, we're trying to bring you guys new Pokemon content on a regular basis. And we're excited because we get to discuss what our, favorite Pokemon are and what we think, which generation has the best Pokemon. So Connor, do you want to kind of walk us through what the process is going to be?
Yeah, so today we're starting a little bit of a discussion to help you all get to know us a little bit as kind of the voices behind House. So we thought we'd kick off today, like Rob said, talking about what we think is the best generation in terms of Pokemon out there right now. And so this is a different discussion than what we think the best game is. So like the actual mechanics of the game, storyline, structure, all that. This is not that discussion. That'll come later. Spoiler alert. But this is specifically looking at the Pokedex. Which do we think is the strongest, and which do we just like the most? It could be a criteria of nostalgia for us. It could be just competitive use. It could be design. Rob and I's criteria is known only to us, so we're just going to and we also don't know what each other have chosen for this. This is a full set of surprises, but I think the best way for us to maybe kick this off, Rob, is to maybe we each give an honorable mention of what we would have maybe almost chosen, like just barely missed the cut. Yeah. And then we'll each get into, our favorite gen for Pokemon after that.
I think it's a great idea. And we've got the Pokedex over here, so we'll kind of show, what Pokemon we are, looking at, which ones we are going to decide on. And we already know, you can put it in the comment section below, but let us know what your favorite generation of Pokemon is. I know that there are a lot of Gen 4 stands, Gen 1 stands. I've even seen some Gen 7 stands, which are interesting to me personally. You can probably tell that means I'm not going to be picking Gen 7. So get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But Connor, we'll start with your honorable mention first. I think that we'll do that. We'll just go back and forth because I'm really interested to see where you're going to start here, because I think I've got 2 or 3 in mind for you. But I'm curious to see which one you're going to pick.
Yeah, so I have 2 that are neck and neck for me for this that I honestly have debated a lot between. That it's a tough decision because one is much more linked to nostalgia, and one I really kind of prefer from a design perspective. So for the honorable mention, I'm going to give that one to nostalgia, and I'm going to say Gen 1. Okay. I think for me, it's hard not to mention it in a video like this because, for you and I, we're in our 30s. We were like old men, long-time Pokemon players. We've been playing since the dawn of time. I'm pretty sure we've been playing Pokemon. And Gen 1 is the foundation of all of that. So, without those original 151, we don't get this franchise that has now become essentially one of the biggest single IPs in the entire world. And that's, we have to talk about that foundation, I think. So for me, Gen 1, Kanto region, Pokemon specifically, is my favorite. Now, as a game, and this is not I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole. Yeah. As a game, I do not think Gen 1 would be on my list at all. I don't think it's borderline a good game at all. Red, blue, and yellow. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Spoiler again. But Gen 1 is my honorable mention. What about you, though, Rob? What's your almost favorite?
Oh, man, dude. Gen 1 was close for me, I will say. And there are a lot of good Pokemon in it. I will tell you guys straight up, a lot of mine is going to be about design. I think design is very important. I want to give a shout out to, some Pokemon in some generations that I have come out recently. I'm not just an old head. I think there are some great Pokemon that have come out, like, in Gen 9. I think Ceruledge is one of the best Pokemon that has ever been created. That design is just outstanding, and I am a big stan of purple, so that Pokemon, like, instantly went into my top 10 the minute that I saw it existed. That was a pretty easy one for me. And then there's also the Tinkatuff, Tinkaton line. I just needed to give those a shout out because those two lines of Pokemon, like, instantly into my top 20 at least, probably in my top 10, but I'm trying not to be too much of a what's newest and great, but like even Gen 8, Yamper, Boltund, such great Pokemon. Sirfetch'd getting added, I think, was a really cool Pokemon. Even like Zamazenta and Zacian, like Dragapult, like Duraludon, like great stuff from Gen 8 as well. I'm going to skip you, Gen 7. Apologies. I wanted to go Gen 6, Connor. That was almost where I ended up. Mainly just because I love I think I love a lot of the Pokemon in it, but it's just such a small dex as well. I don't think it's the smallest one because... Oh, I'm scrolling up there. Give me a second. But I'm going to go with Gen 2 as my honorable mention. Not to be too much of an old head, but like, guys, look, my all-time favorite Pokemon is Ampharos. And Ampharos comes from Gen 2. But it's really hard for me not to pick this one, to be honest with you, because even I think the starters are great. I mean, Cyndaquil, Quilava, Typhlosion, great line, without a doubt. Totodile, Croconaw is one of my favorite middle evolutions, to be honest with you. I think it's just such a... look, the caveman look for it is awesome. Feraligatr is awesome. Noctowl is great. Lantern is a cool Pokemon. Getting Togetic and Togepi. Marie, the whole line. Meryl and Azumarill are just fantastic Pokemon in my mind. Dude, Espeon, Umbreon. Like, Umbreon's like one of the all-time great Pokemon. Potentially my favorite evolution. I mean, even Scizor, man. Like, come on. When that came out, everybody was like, wait, what? I remember. Heracross, like, Donphan and Phanpy are one of my all-time favorite lines, too. Like, it's so hard for me not to pick this one, to be honest with you, Connor. It's one of my, all-time favorites that I hold with me. But there is another generation that I think I'm going to have to go with. But this was a bummer. I was really close to picking Gen 2, to be honest with you. And I'm almost afraid that we're going to end up picking the same generation. But we'll see for our favorites here, Connor. And I'm intrigued to see where you're going to go, or what your thoughts are on Gen 2 first, I should say.
It's funny, both of us, we each put the generation with our very favorite Pokemon as the runner-up, because Growlithe is my favorite Pokemon. I love Arcanine too. Got I got my plushie collection out. The light is really washing out this beautiful Arcanine plushie, but it's cool. Trust me. But anyway, so I also picked my favorite Pokemon as the runner-up. But for me, my favorite generation is about the volume of kind of runner-up favorite Pokemon that I have, because like all of us, we've all got our top 10 favorite Pokemon lists, whether internally or written or whatever. And I think a huge percentage of those, for me, come from Gen 3, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Little worried we have the same one, but that's okay if we do, because Gen 3 is worth it. And I think people need to understand, regardless of how old or young you are, that this generation is stacked. The starters are almost all good. I think I wasn't that excited about Trico when I was young. I think Sceptile's a cool, like Grovile's cool. Blaziken, Mudkip, Marshtomp, Swampert are all sick. Talking about Mudkip, here we go. There he is. We're just going to have Mudkip hang out for a little while here while I talk. I'm going to see how many plushes I can hold while I go through this list.
Do it.
All right, going down. I mean, we've got all the, Zigzagoon, Mightyena, like for initial kind of Route 1 Pokemon are pretty fun. You've got Shiftry down there, which is pretty cool. Add him to the list.
Oh gosh, here he goes.
Great. What else we got here? Gardevoir is in this generation. What the heck? Gardevoir's awesome. Which, Rob, by the way, if Gen 3 is yours, I can stop and I can share some of the vocal workload here. But unless you want to hold off.
So it is. I'm going to be honest with you. It is. But what I was going to say is my other runner-up, the one I was struggling with, was Gen 5. to be honest with you. I do love Gen 5. I know a lot of people don't love to give Gen 5 its flowers, to be honest with you, for whatever reasons. Those games are awesome. The Pokemon are great as well. I understand that a lot of people are like, it's basically a copy of the first generation. I'm like, that's what makes it great. Whatever. But yes, Gen 3 as well. I mean, dude, Pelipper. Can we talk about Pelipper? Like, what a great early game Pokemon.
Talk about Pelipper?
Like, come on. Like, seriously, though. I mean, Swellow is a great Pokemon for early game as well. Beautifly was really nice addition. Breloom. I have, dude, come to really love Breloom as a Pokemon.
Breloom, after the Luigi Mangione thing, I don't want to get into politics here, but Luigi Mangione did love Breloom.
Well, I guess one of the things he and I have in common is Breloom love. Slacking, dude. Who doesn't love that line? Shedinja's great, like you said. Hariyama is a great, absolutely outstanding design for a Pokemon. Sableye, one of my top 5 all-time favorite Pokemon is Aggron. Just, I mean, there's banger after banger. I mean, even Plusle and Minun are cute, dude. Like, they're great little Pika copies, you know?
Manectric is probably a top 5. When I think of a Pokemon that I love, I usually think of myself as practically like owning it and like it being my companion. That's why I love Growlithe, why I love Mudkip. Manectric was right up there for me. I was like, man, Manectric would be so sick to like chill with, you know?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Cool
I mean,
Pokemon.
Dude, let's not forget though, you even got great meme Pokemon. You got Swalot and Gulpin. You got Wailmer and Wailord in this. Spoink and Grumpig.
Yeah.
I mean, even Flygon is in this. Cacturn,
so cool.
Altaria, right? Like, Crawdont and Corphish. Great Pokemon as well. Even the fossil Pokemon are alright. Armaldo is awesome, in my opinion.
Is Dusclops Gen 2 or 3?
Dusclops is Gen 3 as well. Tropius, Absol, Glalie, Walrein, right? Like, freaking Relicanth is a cool Pokemon. Salamence and Metagross are in this. You got the original 3 Reggies, the Lotties, Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza, Jirachi, and Deoxys, like Kecleon, your boy.
Don't forget Kecleon.
You know, there's just, it's like almost every Pokemon in this generation is fun. Torkoal, Camerupt, like, so good, dude. Your boy, I know, you can talk about Kecleon, talk about it. It's fine.
Kecleon's awesome. There's a whole city devoted to Kecleon that you have to, you know, I forget what it's called, where you're walking along the little
Fortree City.
Like the bridges that connect the trees. I don't remember. It's been a while, but it's dope. It's so cool. Like, it's such a unique game. I mean, it's a good game as well, but the Pokemon lineup in it is just fantastic. Like, we talk about the staying power of a lot of Pokemon, like you mentioned Umbreon being an all-time great. Like, it's still like. It's in TCG. It's getting printed like crazy. Like, it is at the forefront. It's a part of the zeitgeist of Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of like a metric I use, is like, how much are Pokemon still talked about? How many games have they appeared in, etc.
Yep.
Gen 3 is so underrated for that in terms of what Pokemon have stuck around and stood the test of time, quote unquote. It's amazing. And I'm glad we're both giving it its flowers here.
Well, yeah, there's really there's almost no bad Pokemon in it. Like, there are, I mean, I don't like the Zigzagoon line personally, but like, hey, you know, I liked it getting its Galarian form. I thought that was fun. Obstagoon's a pretty cool Pokemon, but like, even the starters, like, there are no bad starters.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, if you want, you know, Sceptile, like, eventually when it got its Mega form and it became a freaking dragon, you're like, oh my, wait, what? Yeah. And then Blaziken, the first ever fire fighting Pokemon, right? So like, cool. That was amazing. And then Swampert is just incredibly strong. And you got the 2 derps before it in Mudkip and Marshtomp. Like,
yeah,
I just don't really see how you go wrong. And this generation was, I mean, really and truly just outstanding. I mean, Ludicolo was like the poster boy for the Pokemon movie, right? You know, everybody loved, they're like, wow, Ludicolo is weird. I love that, you know?
And Ludicolo also had a stint in VGC around the time I was competing, where he was very good. Like, one of my buddies had a Ludicolo on his team that was strong, and like, it, you know, it's, I don't know, like you said, there's not a lot of misses, and some of the designs are just, there's a good range of whether you're a fan of just cute, derpy Pokemon like this guy, whether you like the more serious, like with the legendaries and kind of the higher power Pokemon, those are still well made. There's just like, there's not a lot of misses here. And I'm like you, Rob. Like I'm definitely an old head with Pokemon, but I still keep up to date with it. I'm a fan of a lot of the newer Pokemon as well.
Yeah.
It just feels like the density of this is so airtight. It's hard to go against it. Really
Yeah,
is.
it was really hard for me not to pick this one. I did find 2 Pokemon that I loved, or that I hate. Volbeat and Illumise could be gone.
Oh,
just
yeah,
delete them and they're fine. I mean, there are a couple of them. Ones I thought were going to be good that we didn't, because you get to catch it in an early route with Surskit and Masquerain, and that didn't really stick, unfortunately, for me at least. I always thought they were a cool design, but, they didn't stick around very much on my team. Even Lunatone, Solrock, Wishcash. Dude, Wishcash is awesome. If you don't get, Marshtomp, at the beginning, or excuse me, Swampert, at the beginning of the game, like, you can go with a freaking Wishcash instead and be totally fine. Like, yeah, I mean, this was just such a great combination of things. The only thing it was really missing for me is it could have used evolutions. It's the only one of the first 4 gens. First 4 gens that doesn't get an evolution. But,
I agree.
It's a great generation. I would love to see what you guys think. Maybe we are just old heads, but, like, I've played every generation of Pokemon. I've played every generation of Pokemon when it has come out, and this one has always stuck to me as, like, I could walk anywhere, catch just about any Pokemon, and be happy with what my team is going to end up being. I also felt like there were so many choices, for you to go with, depending on what you wanted to. Again, if you skipped going Mudkip, you could get a Wingull early on and have a good water Pokemon on your team. I mean, there's just, the choices were really good, and, like I said, I could talk about it forever, to be honest with you. I know I basically named, I think we named every single Pokemon.
We might have.
In the entire Pokedex for it. But that's okay. That's because they are all that good. And like you said, I mean, Rayquaza is one of the all-time top 5 for the Zeitgeist as well, I think. Maybe top 10.
Also, maybe the coolest shiny that exists is Shiny Rayquaza. So,
that is a great one.
It's certainly up there.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so this has been our favorite, again, just Pokemon generation lists. We'd be very curious to hear. You don't have to out yourself and like your age or anything like that. We're not asking for like date of birth and social security number in the comments or anything. But I would be curious to know like what fans of what era, coming from what era rather, like Millennial, Gen Z, Boomer, whatever, which generation they pick. For me, it's just an interesting case study to think about of like how has Pokemon aged with its fan base. What to what people is nostalgia worth more than others? For me and you, it's kind of like that middle road where like nostalgia is cool. Like we played those games when we were younger, but like we think they do still hold up. So there's that conversation as well. But in general, we'd love to hear more from you all in the comments about this. And we have more discussions coming up, as we kind of await for the release of Legends ZA and Gen 10 and kind of the big new things coming ahead for Pokemon. We want to take a little bit of time to reminisce, look at the past, kind of talk about what got us here, and just kind of build some hype. We're both so excited for the future of Pokemon that we just kind of want to share that excitement with you all. So, Rob, any kind of closing thoughts from you before we wrap this one up?
I like to call it words of wisdom on one of my sports podcasts, and I'm going to give you guys some words of wisdom. If you've never played Gen 3, go do some Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those games really did a good job of kind of expanding this, giving you those mega evolutions. You had the quest where you can fly on the Lotties, which was really cool. You have the Rayquaza quest, which is awesome. I highly, highly suggest it as a game for you guys to go check out. So go do it.
Yep. That's going to do it for us, though. So, again, these are our favorite generations for Pokemon. More discussions coming about our future, in the future with our favorite generation for gameplay. We might even get into our least favorite generation down the line. And we might even make a combined list of what we think if you pushed everything together, what our favorites are. Let us know if you'd like to hear any other conversations like this. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for the support on the channel. We're brand new. Likes and subscribes really do help us out quite a bit. But that's going to do it for us today. So from our house to yours, we'll see you all next time for more great Pokemon content.